gotta be morning. Good morning. Hey, Sharon. Morning. Man, these poor people been out here in the cold for like, shit, 3 days in front of this store. Man. Ain't got enough to put it on them, though. Hey, yeah, 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 hey, yeah. You okay? Man. Hey, what's up, cowboy? How you doing? Can I get a pack of Newport 100, sir? All right. Got that big boy. Sorry about that. That's all I got. Morning, everybody. I am tired, man. I haven't been sleeping well. Allah Akbar. Y'all want $1, man? Man, I was gonna try to give them to you yesterday, man, but I was just short. So
God bless you.
God bless y'all, man.
Did you have a nice Thanksgiving?
I did. Did y'all?
Well,
Best you could, man.
let's
Hey, man, take another $1 bill.
God bless you.
God bless you. All right, bro. You too. Man, get inside where it's warm. You can go in there. You can go in there and sit at that game. Act like you're playing the game. Oh, man. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Yeah, man, need 4 extra legs to try to keep up. Shit is crazy, man. Man, I am tired. You know, I just watching all of this stuff, man. Morning, Twister. Man, I'm watching all of this stuff. Shakedown. Boy, it's ugly. Isn't it? It is just epically ugly. It's big ugly. It's fucking cornbread mafia ugly. Oh my God. I just can't even understand it. So, I want to talk a little bit today, or actually this morning, about victimization. As it relates to creator on creator, right? And more specifically to just kind of addressing right now, this part, addressing the scientist skeptic, or I always get that wrong, whatever that is, skeptic scientist. He did an expose, a segment, if you will, on a gentleman. And you know, I don't want to diminish anything that I know that AK has been through, or his wife, at all, right? But at the same time, you know, I believe that, like, I won't let somebody online say I'm a victim, right? I won't let somebody else put me as a victim of, you know, let's say for instance, Madonna, right? Like I won't be made a victim of that. And so in order to, you know, like I don't feel victimized by that, right? But I think that in this community is full of victims, right? It's full, it is full, and I'm not talking about AK right now, but what I am saying is it's full of people that come here under the guise of trying to do something helpful for you know, the family or for the little girl, whatever. But meanwhile, what happens is these personal opinions and these personal feelings and all these other things that, you know, that come about because there's the creator on creator ego stuff, and so you know, people, there's a new victim made every day, right? Like they say that Chase's Brad is a lot of people's victim. Like they've made a victim out of him, many people. Well, I guarantee you there's thousands more videos about me than there are Chase, and I don't feel victimized by what anybody has done to me online, right? You know, and I don't want to speak for my wife, but I would say that she probably feels the same. It's stupid what happens here. It's stupid, the addiction that we have, right? Like, man, this like, it's the last thing a lot of us are looking at when we go to sleep, and it's the first thing we roll over to. In fact, my situation is tough because, man, I get correspondence all through the night from the different people that are on different schedules and the sort, right? Like I try to stay up to date with what Big Griff is doing, right? But Big Griff, he works at night, so you know what I'm saying? So his off hours when he's not at work, he's got to stay on that night shift, and so I try to stay, you know, I try to stay up to at least an hour of what Griff has going on, what Lizzie has going on. Lizzie's 2 hours behind me. What Cher's got going on. You know, everybody try to keep up with what they got going on, and you need 4 extra legs to keep up because it's just not enough. And so what happens is you start, the bigger your situation is on YouTube, the bigger your situation is, the more people you have consistently or constantly coming at you saying, hey, you know, for instance, hey, Cher, check this out, or hey, Lizzie, check this out, or hey, Benny, Griff, you know, any of us, right? Hey, Kitty, check this out. You know, any of us, honest, check this out. And we can only like go through and look at so much, right? There's just only so much that you can look at. That's it. You're a victim if you choose to be. That's kind of where I'm at, Cher, right? Man, you're not gonna make a victim out of me. I'm not gonna allow all the creators in true crime to let you, I'm not gonna let them watch you victimize me. Cause that ain't what we're doing, right? You ain't nobody victimizing me over here, man. But, so the Scientific Skeptic, he put out a video, it's called the arsonist narcissist or something like that. Emotional arsonist. That's what it was. So in that video, I guess in the comments there's a bar certified attorney, Joe Murray. He's in the comment section and he says that he was, I guess he was over on Duty Ron's, whatever. He was in support of Madonna and his wife and of the other little boy that works with him. And he said he saw the way that H, when Madonna was interviewing H, he didn't edit out a portion where H identifies a drug dealer. But meanwhile, what he's saying to all of us with his words is that he's very protective of H and wouldn't let, his face be out there. But meanwhile, he cares so much that he didn't edit out, critical information that is essentially a narcotic informant move, right? I mean, we know that the police are watching all of this stuff, and meanwhile, we didn't edit out. I'm assuming that wasn't an executive decision by Mr. D, Lil D, who does the editing over there at Madonna's, right? Madonna probably stepped in and said, "Nope, we're gonna leave that in there," right? So essentially, what he did was he left H exposed to the Hawkins County drug dealer or drug dealers, or if Madonna wants you to believe that there's a cartel in that area, then he's leaving them open to cartel activity, right? So it's a very dangerous situation. And so this Joe Murray, he came on and he denounced Madonna. And he said, "Yeah, that's not what it is. This can't be what it's about," So flash forward to the late hours of last night. Griff covered a situation with the R word that was sent to me by a creator. That text was sent to me by a creator. And you guys can go over and check out Griff's channel if you want to know more. But it's just I've come to realize that it's not that a whole bunch of creators want to be right all the time. It's that the fear of having to admit that you're wrong, it supersedes the embarrassment that you feel when you're wrong privately to yourself, right? When you think you're so right, like in AK's situation, Madonna, he said you've got 6 sites that contain media with underage children in sexually explicit plot, right? Well, I don't know. That seems more like the police's job. Like, you take that to the police and you let them work that out, and then you let your receipt be the fact that AK gets arrested for having these 6 sites. Not like we're all watching. I don't watch, but you've got tens and 20s, you got dozens of thousands, hundreds of thousands sometimes people watching, and they're all there for one or two reasons. They want to know the facts, or they want to know the gossip. When you're there for the facts, it's because you're being active and you're motivated by fact and evidentiary value. When you're and that's your motivating factor, right? To get somewhere with all of this, right? Where when you're here to be gossiped and entertained, the only thing you have to do to be entertained is have the desire to be entertained and have the ability to sit still for long periods of time and be motionless. That's not a huge, it's not like you got to get ready to go work out, have a pre-workout and a shake, and no, you just can kind of go to the couch or even just roll over in bed and be entertained at the expense, right? So the other thing that I want to talk about is the doxing. Man, doxing is a make-believe word. And really the only people that it protects is federal agents, right? You cannot dox a federal agent. We're all journalists here, right? It's not doxing if you're a public figure and you're a journalist, right? I would say that if you're attempting to conceal who you are and where you're at and all of that, but not conceal what you're doing, there's some things that play in there. It's that your real life isn't what you want it to be, or it's not what you think folks out there will believe it to be or want it to be for you, right? Or you almost got to say have some mental health situations if you feel like you need to be so opinionated and come here and meet the criteria for victimizing people, but you hide behind a silly profile of a frog with a cowboy hat on, or a cat in a bubble bath, like just the most outrageous stuff, and they want to be taken seriously, with a name like guilt before innocence. They want to be taken seriously, and it's this figmentative world that we all subscribe to, where we come in and we give people like that importance, right? We don't understand that when we put people's videos in our community channel and we sort of bash them a little bit, or we do whatever we do in our community channels, because we all understand as creators that the rules are different in the community channel than they are on your video channel. Like, you can effectively dox and do whatever the hell you want in your community, and it's covered almost by a different censorship. So it's an interesting situation, because can you imagine, like, the only criteria for a legal dox, right? Let me run you through this. What a legal dox is to these crazies on YouTube is that as long as you've met the criteria of having a tragedy, having had happen in your life, a tragedy happened, right? And then you wake up in the morning and all your remaining children are online. Your house is online, your neighbors are online, your church is online, the people within your church are online. Like, and still, it doesn't matter if we like Don Wells or Candace, or we're sad their kids are gone, or we're happy their kids are gone. The fact of the matter is that it is innocence before guilt. And that's what's the conundrum for me, because the battle with me isn't about who Don or Candace is or isn't. It's about me staying true to due process. It's me staying true to Lady Justice, blind Lady Justice. But see, that's the thing. Lady Justice is blind. She doesn't have to look at the stuff that we force and we choose for ourselves to look at, right? Hey, AF, I don't know. I want to keep this going here. It's been a very short one. I've got to make a food delivery. I'm on the Uber clock right now. I got to make a food delivery, but I've got to go into a parking ramp, and then I've got to go up an elevator and then deliver the food really quick and then back down to the car. It would take about 4 minutes if you want to hang on. Do you guys want to hang on, or you want me to just wrap this one up? I just really wanted to come on and talk about this for a minute. You want to hang on? Okay. Then I'm going to go up and make the food delivery, and I'll come back. Yeah, okay, cool. So I'm getting ready to go into the parking ramp right now. So the ticker will start. Here we go. At some point, I will lose you guys. I'm up the elevator. I'll be, give me 3 minutes. 3 more minutes. 3 more minutes. Okay. Okay. It'll be my last one in the morning, I think. What did you say? 2.5? What did you say? I'm about to go down the elevator. Whoa. Somebody broke the sign. Like, come on. That is not AB. Right, no, that's the good one. That's the good AB. Hi. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Going down the elevator. Going down, 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 down. Going down, down, down. The chase deal. I'm going down, down, down. In a burning ring of fire. I go down, down, down as the flames keep getting higher. And I burn, burn, burn the ring of fire, the ring of fire. Okay. I'm back. I don't know if you guys can hear or see me. Can you put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me and see me? I'm going down, down, down in a burning ring of fire. Okay, cool. So, I want to talk about the call. You know, I've been raising a stink about this call. And I'm just really confused about the call. Burns, burns, burns. Yeah, it's a ring of fire, right? You dip in. This is this really strange thing. You dip in, and you would think that at some point some of these big content creators would they just stop, right? But they don't. They just keep going and going and going. And unfortunately, the rest of us, we got to keep going and going and going too if we desire to continue to be a part of it. And you know, as content creators, we're all here searching for more than just summer, right? Let's be honest about it. We're here searching for our self-confidence, our self-worth. We're here searching for friends. Some of us come here searching for people to bang up on and you know, run amok on, and others of us are looking for people to gang up with, and all of it's cool, right? All of it is well within the rules, but there is this strange behavior, right? See, you see the people that put the Wells whole life online, and then you see when they get doxxed, or when we just reveal who they are publicly, they are just get all crazy sensitive. And so there is a direct, there's something there direct that you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. You don't seem to have a problem doing it to other people, but you actually really hate it when it happens to you. And it's just, it's unbelievable. I can't imagine how it's this way, but it is, right? It's like trying to go to a mental hospital and make a friend, or try to, you know, jump into a mental hospital and try to catch up with what the gossip is there. I mean, you can get probably 3% information, but 97% is all affliction, and it's all personality, and it's a double standard. It's a crazy double standard, right? So, I mean, it's like these women. Let me tell you about Aussie Insider really quick. Man, this is a real life situation. My wife don't pay attention to this YouTube like that, right? It's certain stuff that just happens that, you know, it just goes and goes and goes, right? Well, during the time that I was dealing with Aussie Insider, she became, I'm not going to say close. She became a casual associate of my wife's. Well, last night I was walking behind my wife's back, and I saw Aussie Insider's Facebook profile picture way at the top of my wife's list. And I was like, what is she doing? You know, and she's like, oh, she messaged me. And so I opened the message up, and it's Aussie Insider in there tattletaling to my wife about this shit that I do online that she also was a part of. Not in this case, but in the West case. She was very, very helpful in what you would say here, doxing people involved in the West case. Like, I didn't have any background searcher. I didn't have any of that. I was brand new to this stuff. So she would do all the looking up, and she would give me all the stuff to make the videos about the people and who they actually really were, with all their background, you know. I mean, that's what she was great at, was giving me the information to dox people. So yeah, man. So she was in my wife's stuff, and then when I looked at all the messages, she sent one on the 17th, and she was like, see, he's never gonna stop YouTube. Now he's doxing innocent women and this and that. I haven't doxed one innocent woman yet. All these women wouldn't even look Jesus in the mouth, right? Couldn't look Jesus in the mouth. No way they could look Jesus in the mouth. Right? And so that's that crazy standard for alpha male, right? You come here and you're an alpha male. Oh, the first thing you are is gay. The second thing you are is an active dopehead, a scammer, right? Like, if you're just a woman, you can just have a kind of a casual cat fight, and then just a bunch of sound and noise, and then it goes away. But when you actually pose what people believe is a real threat online, man, you want to know, I go looking at comments on other channels that, you know, paint a bad narrative. They paint a bad narrative of me, because when you go down through there, a lot of these people, they can't get any true crime views. But if they put Benny's name in the title, oh man, they can build a whole channel off of talking shit about Benny. They do build whole channels, right? So there's that motivation, because the people want to see somebody talk bad about Benny, because Benny is just very influential in the truth, right? Somebody did a video about me taking money from a Sandman. I think it should be pretty clear now that there's many Sandmans in other cases too. So a lot of people are saying that Tim Mullins sent me $3,400. That's not true at all. Tim Mullins hasn't sent me shit. Tim Mullins has never even sent me an email or a text. Again, I don't know who Tim Mullins is, right? But that man certainly doesn't know me and has never sent me no $3,200. That was for real world work and intel that I had on the Gurney case. The man that sent me that money, coincidentally enough, his name is Sandman as well, right? Throughout this whole journey with me on YouTube, anybody that's influential and has power that I deal with, I could call them the Cornbread Mafia, but I won't. Right? Like Cornbread Mafia just means persons with power or people that seem untouchable, right? Like Illuminati or, looking at somebody on the street and saying, oh, they've got to be in a gang because of how they sound or look or, whatever, right? So, I'm going to tell you about an idea. I called, it irritated the crap out of me. I called, let me tell you what I found. I found, I believe it was an old Vice News video. Oh, that's loud. It was an old Vice News video from a few years ago. And what the video entailed was a group, a non-profit group that raised funds for a site, but that wasn't the expensive part. What the expensive part was that search engine optimization. If anybody doesn't know what SEO, search engine optimization is, it is you can pay a SEO specialist to keep your website number one when they search, right? So what this group did was they tried to prevent school shootings. And say, well, how could you ever do such a thing? Well, this is how. What they would do is they would create a website that had awareness and had different attractants on it that they believed would bring school shooters, right? Because they find out that after school shootings are concluded that these guys do a lot of research online about this stuff. So what it is essentially it's a, in Madonna's words, it's a honeypot. But anytime someone comes to the site or they search school shooting, this site pops up number one, and we all know that every time, usually Google tells us it's number one, we click on it, right? So when you click on it, it gets run through, and next thing you know, they're starting to build profiles on the people that are visiting the site, right? They've actually been able to prevent school shootings by looking at the data that comes through this site that collects information and then serving search warrants and finding people loaded up, right? Ready to go. With all the stuff it would take to carry one of those out. And with the digital footprint that would suggest that that's what they got on their mind, right? So I called, I believe his name was Detective Perry. Well, I called Ronnie Lawson, asked him about it. But he was out. And so they dropped me down to Detective Perry. Detective Perry, I'm sure he's a great guy, but he just couldn't grasp. It took me quite a while to help him understand what I was talking about. And I said, Detective Perry, I believe that this tactic could be a useful tactic. And he said, well, explain. And so he did. He gave me a good 30 minutes, 35 minutes of his time. And I explained about creating some sort of bait site that we could put up that would have any kind of information on it that would draw people to come over and look at it. and start collecting the information from, from that exercise. And I don't want to say shut me down, but he had a hard time seeing the useful and the tact in it. And I explained to him, I said, well, sir, I believe that it wouldn't take an expert to comb through the data. You would start looking for things like repeat visits. There's a lot of different behavior that you could catch through an algorithm of doing one of these sites. And I'll just tell you, I said you could make it an official Summer Wells information site. Reward information, pardon me. Where you can keep the whole thing separate, right? Don't attach it to anything. You want to see the organic people that are coming in to look at it, right? So they weren't really interested in that. I said, sir, that's really an exercise, a tactic you can be running from the office. That's not going to require you to go out in the field and do any of this other stuff. And he was like, yeah, I understand what you're saying now. He's like, yeah, but we can't tie Sheriff Lawson's name to any of that kind of stuff. And I was like, that's what he gathered from it, was that I was asking him to create a site that had Ronnie Lawson all over it. And I prefaced all of it by saying that it could be completely independent of anything of Ronnie Lawson as a candidate and focus on collecting the data of the people that would want to know the conditions and how much the reward is, and how to collect it if you have the information. And he didn't seem interested. And I said, well, what about if us as the open source intelligence community, what if we ran that operation? It's how analytics work. It's really basic, right? It could be a very, very archaic looking site that just logs IP addresses, and then you start to build your profiles after that. You're looking for repeats, you're looking for length of time on the site. You're looking for some different behavioral patterns that would suggest to you that someone worth looking into is visiting this site for this information. BK and Lizzie's Amy Lou, I love you. And so that's kind of where I felt like you could get ahead of the game by creating these siphons. And this is the thing. Some people are probably saying, no, Benny, don't even talk about it because we can do it. You can still do it, but these people have zero choice. They have zero choice in the matter. There are, whoever this offender is, he has a real mental affliction. And that mental affliction, I mean, let's be honest, right? Whoever this person is has a mental affliction that actually has them acting out on fantasies of taking little girls for whatever reason. So that person could never, ever possibly keep this thing under wraps forever. It can't happen. Right? Because he's got a mental affliction, he will slip up somewhere. He will make an error, right? And how he'll make an error in the easiest realm to find him is in the digital world, right here. He's probably watching. So, Benny, what does all that mean? Price of tea in China. What it means is for little or no money, any of us that say we want to be helpful could be helpful in that way. Whoa, right? Very easy, right? Any of us could take $50, $40 and create one of these sites that's appealing enough that someone can't help themselves. They gotta go see about it. they have no choice in the power, right? To pick it up or put it down. They got no choice. They have to come look at the site, right? They have to. Like, they have no choice in the matter. The person that's involved in this, they've watched every single piece of media. They've looked at everything. They've touched everything in the digital world over and over and over again. Literally. So we never thought that creating a digital net for this person was the way to do it. Now, I did say to the deputy sheriff, Perry or Terry, whatever, I said, now I understand the different reasons why you wouldn't want to be involved in this for yourself in the sheriff's department, right? Like, maybe it's past all that now and you don't need this service. But I said, would it be helpful to do that? And he said, oh yeah, I think it would be helpful. And I said, so you essentially, they don't want to run that maneuver, but they want the data from it, which I think is totally acceptable, right? I don't see any problem in that necessarily. I do think that it's an issue that, I know they got a lot on their plate. Somebody could be running a situation, right, like that. Not to say someone isn't already, but we have to understand that even talking about it publicly is not going to be a deterrent. Whoever this person is, like I said, they have no power of choice. You up and they're going to go to it. You put something up and say you've got an up that site and they're going to go to it. These people will most definitely expose themselves digitally first. That's my opinion, right? That's the big hunt, is for the digital stuff that we can't see, that we have no control over. It's going to be a digital error, a digital slip up. There's just no way around it. It's what it's going to be. Or it's going to be a snitch. Somebody's got the information and they feel pressured, or they're involved and they want to cut a deal to try to, limit the time, shave some time off of their sentence, get a plea deal, whatever. They'll go tell it. You're looking for those two things, a digital slip up or a snitch. That's all it can be right at this point. You're hoping that scenario leads to a location of, a live little girl, or at the very least, some remains, right? you had this 6-week layover from Phil to the airing date. And then I feel like there was more disservice given by essentially what came from the Dr. Phil is you guys got to go look at the Cornbread Mafia. That's what you got from it. Or you were able to weasel out of Don. You asked him, just speculate. That's what you said. You said, who do you think could be involved? Just speculate. And so Don said, well, the guy that I fired, the guy that I fired, I think that he could be capable of something like that. So it was just two new conspiracies hatched, right? Well, the Cornbread Mafia was the more sensational of the two because it was new. No one knew about it yet, right? Or very limited information. And so we completely tore that apart. And let me tell you what we didn't even come up with. We haven't even come up with one person that's actually from the Cornbread Mafia. Not one. We haven't pulled out one character. We haven't exposed one vein or cell of the Cornbread Mafia. So it was another disservice. What could we have done if that airing didn't take 6 weeks, right? So it was like, help's on the way. But it's going to take 6 weeks from now. So you go to the call that came in during Dr. Phil. I raised the stink about it because I wanted to know. I felt like I wasn't being told the truth. There, I said it. I didn't feel like I was being told the truth about the call. And the fact that I'd even been told about the call in the first place, but the activities revolving around the call were not accurate. Then I was asked to talk about this situation. I'm like, the call came from Jenna. I pieced that together, allegedly. But then Jenna's running around saying that the call was bogus. But then Scott comes in the comments of my video yesterday and he says, no, it was real. The call was real. But there didn't seem to be any reasoning to make it a big deal that it would interrupt the show. That's his opinion. So you start to ask yourself, what was the real ploy behind calling? So you got to ask yourself, who could know when to call at the exact right time? Who could know? I couldn't have even known to call them at the exact right time. But somebody knew when to call and make it some sort of issue. I don't understand. I thought I overstood about the call. But I don't. And the more that I dig into it, I don't understand it more and more and more and more, because do I feel like Scott is lying to me? I don't. Do I feel like the people telling me about the call are lying to me? Man, I want to say I don't. But it becomes less and less all the time I think about it. And I just don't like the way that feels. I just don't like feeling like I've been used like a tool. That's what I don't appreciate at all. I don't know what's really the deal here. I don't know what's the deal here. I do know that they wanted to focus on the Cornbread Mafia. I know that part. I started talking about this call and they're like, no, Benny. Can't say anything against Dr. Phil. Can't say anything against the behavioral panel. And I said, man, my mind is so twisted up. I'm starting to feel like somebody knows exactly how this thing is going to end already. Like, it's not developing in reality. It's developing on this Hollywood timeline. And so everybody wants to be a superstar. Hoo-ah. They'll behave terribly here, horribly, in order to be superstars. But then when the superstardom starts to suppress, all of a sudden it's Penny's fault. All of a sudden, oh God, I doxed. And let me tell you, this is how these people think. The only safe doxing, they don't even call putting Don's whole shit online, his whole life. They don't even consider that doxing because they're victims of a crime. Because they're victims of a crime, you don't have to protect their whereabouts. You don't have to protect their house. You can put their kids online because they're a victim of a crime. They have zero rights as the victim of a crime. Do I believe Jenna was working since the beginning to CM? Potentially. SDA is a strange one. People who I know that grew up in it call it a cult. Sure. Let me tell you this. Catholicism. There's been more crap go on in the Catholic Church than any church in the land in terms of child abuse, right? So it's hard to manage. It's hard to it's impossible to try to solicit an opinion here. It's not safe. It's not safe to even talk to anybody on the phone. It's not safe to really text anybody unless it's from a text now number. Like, this is the deal. These people are so petty that they'll text you the nastiest stuff from a text now number because they know you can't prove it was them. You can't prove it. There's no way you can prove who this text now number is. Even if they tell you, yeah, this is Madonna. Guess what? When it gets exposed online, all Madonna has to say is, that's not my number. Whoever did that is an idiot. It's that simple. It's just that simple. No, let me tell you why they say, Pendar, there's no coincidences. They say there's no coincidences in an investigation so as you don't miss something, right? If something's connected, well, then what that suggests is that you need to take the time to look into it. And, none of it has been good for anything, right? Like, since day one till now, there hasn't been one viable tip. Not one. Not one. Not one that's led to anything. Hey, Chase. Yeah, I mean, you've even got channels out here, the ELP. That gentleman, like, he's on a rampage. Like, he wants these people to denounce the SDA church. And if they denounce it, like, denouncing your religion because of being pressed by someone else is anti-Semitic. It's the very thing that the ISIS do, right? Before they go in and slaughter everyone, they're like, will you convert from Christianity to, from being an Arabic Christian to Islamic extremist? If you don't want to do that, then pow, right? Like, that's essentially what you're doing, but you don't have the ability to pow. So what you do have is the ability to continue to slander the church. So, and that's my point. Can you imagine waking up in the morning after losing your child, or 166 days later or whatever? You wake up and your house is online every day. People are telling you how happy they are that your other children were taken, right? They make a mess. They fundraise illegally. They do a whole bunch of things that they shouldn't do, all in the name of your daughter. And while they're doing it, they'll tell you that because you're not doing the same thing they're doing, you must not care about your daughter. For real. Oh, because you don't want to go to a prayer vigil where people are going to film you in all of your misery. They're going to film you. But because you don't want to go to that, you got to be guilty, right? Look what they did to Timothy Etherton. Tore that man a new one. Called his prayer sessions seances. That was Scam and Scally that did that. They said that his prayer vigil was a seance, like something close to voodoo. Jenna made that call, yeah. Yep. That's what's been alleged, right? Yeah, and it's like, ooh, yeah. I'm going to say all the craziest crap I can about the people that are close to you for $1, for $1. Let me tell you what. Do you want to know how much money comes from one YouTube view? 0.04 cents. Like 4/100ths of a cent, not 1/4. Holy cow. They break the penny down like the dollar. Timmy seems like a really nice kid. He does. He does. But, you know, let me tell you another thing. Did I reach out to Don and Candace yesterday? No, I didn't. Right? I did not. And they didn't wish me a happy Thanksgiving either. She claims they were not filming, that they were at the hotel when she made the call. How would she know? Exactly. No. How would Scott say that they were there for that? It didn't happen at the hotel. Go look at my last video before this one. What I said was exactly what Scott said. Scott said we were there for that. That call did not happen at the motel or the hotel or the Holiday Inn. It did not. It happened while they were at the show because the behavioral panel people saw it. It's a lie. Like, to say it was at a hotel is a lie. Why would you have to lie about that, Jenna? Scott Rouse and the people from the behavioral panel said that they witnessed the call or that activity involving that. I don't know, guys. Oh, I know I was repeating verbatim what she... Exactly. Yeah. I know, Casey. Jenna said that last night. No, we don't do that. Oh, exactly. So that being a lie in itself, right? Like, she's calling Scott Rouse from the behavioral panel a liar. She's calling the behavioral panel people a liar. Scott didn't make the comment about being there. He didn't make the comment about being there, right? She didn't make the comment privately to somebody else. She made the comment publicly. And after Scott came in my comments and was talking about how it played out, Jenna knew someone that was a critical thinker was going to narrow down the time and say, okay, somebody had to have known exactly what time to make that call. Because they were at the show, and the allegedness of the call was that it disrupted the filming. We got a lot of people saying that it didn't disrupt the filming, right? And now we got Jenna saying that she made the call. Yes, she came out and said she made the call, but they weren't at the show. They were at the hotel. Well, I assure you, Scott Rouse was not at the hotel with them. Scott Rouse was somewhere other than the hotel room. So that's a complete lie. I don't know why she would lie. And that's what I'm trying to figure out right now. I ignored Jenna for a long time because I felt like she was just an idiot. She may still be an idiot, but I believe she's an idiot with some information. I didn't say the information was factual and actual. I said I think she has some information. Right? But what we do know is Jenna wants us to believe she has some information But in terms of the actual investigation, she doesn't. She does not have actual information. Or the information that she says she's given would create an effect. Something would happen, right? So she says she knows. Clearly she doesn't. There's been no move on law enforcement part on anything Jenna's ever said. Unfortunately, I wish they would have. But that's what it is, man. Unfortunately. Well, it's you know what? She is irrelevant. But she keeps making herself relevant again. Let me tell you something a lot of people don't know either. I talked to Voldemort for about 35, 40 minutes the other day. I won't divulge what we talked about necessarily. But let me tell you this. Jody Sue ain't who she says she is. Tell you that right now. Jody Sue, from her own husband of 26 years, yep, a whole bunch of crap that she said, and I let me tell you what, I corroborated Voldemort, Andy, right? So on some of he admitted his involvement in some things, but we have to remember that the issue right now that Andy and Jody Sue got different issues. Jody Sue is mad at Voldemort for X, Y, or Z. Andy's upset because allegedly it had got passed down to what Jody Sue told us was that her daughter told her that Voldemort had told her she saw Summer's body. Right? She came on there and talked about that. Voldemort's been, he said he's been questioned by every authority in the whole world. Damn near. If he knows where her body is, he hid that information well from the police. Right? So when you come on and you say stuff like that, let me tell you this. Voldemort said he saw that girl 2 days before she went missing. 2 days. He said because Jody Sue is alluding to the fact that maybe she, or someone around Jody Sue is alluding to the fact that maybe Summer had been gone for a year before she was actually classified as missing. But Voldemort was like, that's not true. I saw her 2 days before she went missing, right? So yeah, I mean, you you have to start looking at the situation for what it is, right? Like Jody Sue has been on here bitching and complaining about money, and now all of a sudden she got a new snake as a pet, right? She's got a new snake as a pet. Like, where'd you get snake money, right? Where'd you get snake money? Where'd you get room for a cage and rats and, you know, heating lights and heating pads and like it's just a strange purchase. $400 startup right there. Yeah, it all adds up. So what I'll tell you today, I don't even give a shit. On the Wells Family Channel official, there's going to be a video that comes out explaining that call. I don't know what the video is going to be about because I didn't ask. Yeah, that's the other thing that Voldemort said was that she's been wanting to be famous for a while now. She's thought of every way she can to be famous, even, you know, her her condition. So I'm not here to discount anything about Jody Sue. I'm just telling you what her husband said. Can you guys hit the like button for me? She said she has had it a few years. Yeah. So, and I'll tell you this. So Jody Sue and her daughter, they went to the court and they got PPOs, personal protection orders, against Voldemort. Jody Sue went down there to try to sign one up for her son, which Jody Sue put on the news. The red-haired gentleman tried to go down there and sign one up for him, but the son never showed up in court to validate it. So the son doesn't have an order against him, but Jody Sue and his daughter do. So he said that right now he's focused on getting him together, moving on with his life past the Jody Sue. And that's, that's what he's focused on, right? The unusual part about, let me tell you the unusual part that probably a lot of people don't know. Jody Sue clearly is running around like a scorned woman. And that's, I would too, I suppose, right? If I was in her position, I would be scorned as well. But she keeps putting all this narcissist stuff up like she never wants Voldemort to have another woman again. Let me tell you what, Voldemort has another woman and they're doing great. And so a lot of what you see from Jody Sue in terms of pulling Voldemort into this whole thing, it's based around the fact that Jody Sue is not the main anymore, right? Like she's not the main focus in Voldemort's life, and so she's got to try to find a way to redeem herself, right? Like he said they hit on each other. He didn't just hit on her. She hit on him too, right? So it's not even a situation that I can even really give a platform to because, she hasn't been truthful. She hit on him too. So, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? I'm not a historian, so I couldn't say. All I know is that I surmised by looking at the situation that she was aggressive. I also got confirmation from her herself that she's aggressive in that way. And you put two aggressive people together and they get to drinking or doing whatever they do for leisure. And then boom, you got a fist fight, right? So, and he has no reason to lie to me, right? He has no reason to lie to me. Kim, the reason why he doesn't come out is because he's got the issues with his children and he wants to repair the issues with his children. He doesn't want to come out and do what Jody Sue is doing because he understands that damages those children in a way, right? She continued, and I told Voldemort, I said, sir, what's been done to you is you've been alienated as a parent. Jody Sue is made a victim of you, right? But used your children to victimize you. That's a special, different kind of victimization. That's puppetry. So anyways, guys, I'm going to go back inside. I'm done Ubering. She's damaging her own children. Put her son online. If you guys remember, Jody Sue put her son online. And her son came on and said that it sounded like an animalistic sound. And then Jody came directly after him on the news and said, no, it wasn't an animalistic sound. So essentially, she put her own son on the news to contradict what he said. It made no sense, right? Like, and it's the way that they edited it too. And I caught the edit. It was like, oh, okay. They're making them contradict each other, right? Hey, Mark. Put her daughter on a panel. There you go. So it's completely pulling the heartstrings of the public, right? This isn't about Jody Sue and her alleged domestic violence. It is though now, right? There's two victims, right? It's Summer and Jody Sue. Oh goodness, poor Jody Sue. She opened herself up to the online life, and she got torn up. She got banged around, and she's not liking. She doesn't like the idea of going down without a fight. And I get it. I'm the same way. I know a lot of us are. So, but when you start using your children as a fulcrum to stay in the media and keep a situation that's not involved with a missing girl, she's just trying to keep her situation with Voldemort toxic, so that she can win. And she wants to win publicly. There's a gentleman right now named Daryl Jacobs that is just tormenting the shit. He's tormenting the shit out of Voldemort, right? Putting the kids online, federal case against Penny. You know what happens in scenarios like that, man? Like they'll say you may have a civil suit. You may have a civil suit, but we don't have time to lock people up during COVID season for dumb stuff that you want to concoct online, right? Like, I've been doing it the same way for 11 months. I've never had one charge filed against me. I know what I can and can't do. I know where the line is. So, and I only know that because I've tried to report other people for doing the same thing to the police, tried to report them for doing the same thing they're doing to me. So if they just don't pick up silly stuff like that, unfortunately. If they did pick up silly stuff like that, then YouTube would be a lot safer and cleaner place. Anyways, guys, I'm going to go back inside. I appreciate all of you individually. Remember, the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.